Robot and zombie. The overly complicated winter apocalypse. It was a cold, gray morning in the idyllic New England town of Frostport. The streets were quiet, covered in a fresh blanket of snow. Families inside their warm homes sipped hot cocoa while admiring the snow-covered landscape from behind their picture-perfect windows. Nothing could disturb this peaceful winter day. Nothing except Robot. "All right, Z, this is it," Robot announced, shoving his metal foot into a snowbank for dramatic effect. "Our biggest scheme yet. We're going to rule this town by the end of the day. I've got a foolproof plan." Zombie, of course, did not reply. His head swiveled slowly toward Robot, his vacant eyes glimmering with faint interest, as if considering whether now was the time to make another attempt to bite off Robot's head. Instead, he just groaned, "Town." Robot, who had taken Zombie's utterance as blind enthusiasm, smirked. "That's right. We'll take over this whole boring place. I'm the brains, you're the... da-da. Well, you're here. Let's go." Robot stomped ahead, his flannel shirt dragging in the snow as he strutted down the main street, making sure to knock over as many snowmen as possible along the way. With each crunch of snow under his metal boots, Robot envisioned himself as the future ruler of Frostport. The plan? Well, Robot didn't really have one, but he was pretty sure something amazing would happen eventually, as it always did, sort of. Meanwhile, Zombie trudged behind him, dragging his feet and mumbling softly to himself. Every now and then, he would attempt to grab Robot's head, but Robot always managed to dodge just in time, too caught up in his own monologue to notice. As they reached the town square, a group of teens loitered near a statue of some historical figure that no one really cared about. Kathy, Vanessa, Cindy, Todd Birkin, and Ben Corbin, the usual gang of troublemakers, were all there, wrapped in oversized jackets and beanies. "Look, Z," Robot said, pointing at the teens. "Fresh meat. They probably don't know it yet, but we're about to take over their little cliques. Then they'll worship me naturally." As they approached, Kathy was the first to speak. "Oh no, not you again," she groaned, rolling her eyes. "What ridiculous scheme are you planning this time, Rustbucket?" Robot grinned, completely ignoring the insult. "I'm glad you asked, Kathy. I'm taking over this town. You see, this whole winter wonderland garbage is just a cover. What Frostport needs is a real leader, me. And Zombie here, he's, my enforcer." Zombie moaned softly in response, his head tilting as if he might finally get his chance to take a bite out of Robot. Kathy smirked at Zombie, clearly unfazed. "Zombie," she said, raising an eyebrow, "you're still trying to eat people's heads, huh?" "Head," Zombie echoed, leaning toward Kathy. She sidestepped him with practiced ease. Vanessa, ever the flirt, leaned toward Zombie with a grin. "You know, Z, if you stop trying to eat people's heads, maybe we could hang out more." Cindy scoffed. "This town is too pretty for you losers," she said, eyeing Robot with contempt. "You don't belong here." Ben, meanwhile, was already causing trouble. He kicked over a trash can, scattering snow-covered garbage everywhere. "I don't even care what you're planning, Robot. This town's boring anyway." Robot snickered, taking Ben's rebellion as validation of his leadership. "Exactly. We're going to make this place exciting. First, we take over the square then." "Who knows?" Todd, slow as always, squinted at Zombie. "Is that guy mimicking me?" Zombie mumbled, "mimicking," and drooled slightly. Todd narrowed his eyes, clearly annoyed. "Cut it out." Before Robot could brag any further, the distant sound of an alarm interrupted his speech. Everyone turned toward the Frostport Mall at the far end of the square. Smoke was billowing out of a broken window, and a security alarm blared through the icy air. "Ha! See!" Robot shouted, clearly taking credit for the chaos he hadn't caused. "My genius is already paying off. Let's go claim our prize, Z." Without hesitation, Robot sprinted toward the mall, leaving Zombie, the teens, and the townspeople confused in his wake. Zombie followed slowly, his feet dragging in the snow. When they arrived, Robot was already prying open the door with his metal fingers, grinning maniacally. "This is it, our big score. It's probably full of jewelry, cash, and other cool stuff." The mall was mostly deserted, its shops dark and covered in snow blown in through the shattered windows. Despite the eerie silence, Robot charged forward, knocking over mannequins and kicking through display cases. He was convinced there was treasure hidden somewhere. Zombie, however, had other ideas. He wandered over to the food court, eyes locked on a half-eaten burger abandoned on a table. He picked it up, sniffed it, and shoved it into his mouth with the slow satisfaction only a zombie could have. Meanwhile, Robot had found an old snow globe in one of the stores and was holding it up like a prize. This is the key to our victory, Z. Once I sell this thing, we'll be rich. You'll see." Zombie, in his usual fashion, didn't respond. He was too busy trying to fit the snow globe in his mouth. Outside the mall, the chaos had drawn a crowd. The townspeople of Frostport stood aghast, watching as Robot wreaked havoc inside, shouting wildly about his future reign. Kathy, Vanessa, Cindy, and the rest of the teens stood nearby, laughing at the absurdity. Robot thinks he's going to rule the town with a snow globe. Vanessa snickered. "I'm just here for Zombie," Kathy said with a grin, clearly amused by Zombie's food obsession. As the police sirens began to wail in the distance, Robot finally realized what was happening. His face fell as his grandiose vision of power and wealth crumbled. "Z, time to go," he yelled, tossing the snow globe aside and bolting toward the exit. Zombie followed, reluctantly leaving his newfound burger behind. The pair sprinted through the snow, weaving between houses and snow-covered trees, as the town returned to its peaceful wintry silence. Robot, panting and out of breath, glanced over his shoulder. "Well, Z, we didn't quite take over the town, but we'll get him next time." Zombie groaned, "Next time." And with that, the duo trudged off into the snowy distance, ready to scheme again.